again, thank you all so much. I don't know if it's a coincidence, but today is Hunger Action Day during Hunger Action Month. And what a better time to have an agency conference for the East Texas Food Bank. So you'll see staffers here at the East Texas Food Bank wearing orange, I guess, or at least a little bit of orange on them today. Tim's got his orange. It looks like he's representing. That's Home Depot, Tim. Come on. No, but the spirit is there for us, and thank you all for joining us. Really, I have to thank you because without our generous donors and without you, the East Texas Food Bank would not exist. I mean, we exist that's our purpose, is to support the efforts that you do in each of your communities. We've got a variety of programs that we operate that many of you participate in, many or all of them. We do some direct service, but again, it really is to try and empower the people that are trying to help, both from a donation standpoint and also to do the heavy lifting of serving the people that we serve in our communities. So thank you so much for being there. We can't say that enough. That's our mission, is to fight hunger and feed hope. And our purpose is really to empower you to do that in that mission. It's been a crazy ride over the last year and a half or 2 years. The pandemic has thrown a lot of curves to us. I thought we got rid of these face masks a few months ago, but things have come back, and we've had to ramp up our COVID protocols. And I hope that y'all are being careful as well. I think there's a good session about that, and we can talk about best practices there. The good news is that I think that the East Texas Food Bank and our network is the strongest it's ever been. I'm really proud of the resilience that you all have shown. I think, I'm pretty sure that our service area experienced one of the lowest, if not the lowest, closure rates of agencies throughout all of feeding Texas. I think we had maybe 4% of our agencies close, and that was much, much lower than the state average. So thank you for your resilience and your dedication to serving your community. We are also very blessed. I don't know if you've all seen the press releases and some of the stories that we did a little bit earlier about some of our initiatives and the investments that we're going to be making in the East Texas Food Banks and the East Texas Food Banks network. But we received a very generous donation from Mackenzie Scott last December, $9 million grant for the work that we do. And it was a complete surprise to us. And it's a huge vote of confidence for the work that you all do, and the resilience of our organization. And again, Tim's going to be walking you through a revised strategic plan. We had a great plan, but we had to get ourselves back together after we received some of that funding and really talk about how we were going to deploy that quickly, because we are moving, as we have been for the 10 years that I've been here, to try and narrow that hunger gap and eliminate it by 2025. With Miss Scott's and some of the other donations that we've been able to receive over the last couple years, we're a step closer to that, and we're going to make it a reality. Tim's going to share with you some of the details. It's going to involve most all of you, we're just so excited, and we're sorry that we're needed, but we are blessed to be able to be in a position to actually help our neighbors. So again, thanks to Tim and Charles and their team for putting this great session together. Thanks to Tech 12. This is going to be interesting. I've never had a curated type of a Zoom meeting. I might consider that for our board meetings. But anyways, I hope you all have a great day. Happy Hunger Action Day. And Tim, take it away.
All right, thanks, Dennis. I needed every single minute of that welcome to try to figure out how to make my PowerPoint work. So thank you for the extra time. All right, so as Dennis said, I'm going to go over our strategic plan refresh here, but I wanted to do a year in review for y'all. For those of you that may not be able to see the broad picture of, we have 200 partner agencies across 26 counties, and you guys are all helping so many people every single day. And just being able to see the big picture and everything that you guys want to accomplish. So I'm going to attempt to share my screen here. All right. See if that worked. Oh, whoops. Yeah, you guys can see the wrong screen actually. Hold on one moment. Okay, so does that look right to everybody? All righty, if y'all can see it, we are good to go. So as we said, we kind of skipped agency conference last year. I think this was going to be the 15th annual, but appreciate you joining us in this virtual. But I want to give you the year in review for 2020, 2021. It's been wild, but we've done so much. At one point during COVID, we were serving 74% more households than our partners and the East Texas Food Bank have ever done in the history of the food bank. So it was an incredible demand. I know you guys saw that firsthand in your pantries every single day. So again, thank you so much for your dedication, guys. Really appreciate y'all. In 2021, over 23 million meals were provided. You can see that full number there. That includes 412,000 hot meals through our soup kitchen partners, 181,000 backpacks through school partnerships, almost 90,000 after school meals, 46,000 senior boxes, 25,000 summer meals, and then over 1,000 SNAP applications. Each SNAP application offers about 973 meals. So that's a great way to help people access healthy food. Out of those meals, over 10.7 million pounds of fresh produce were distributed. And you guys know that's a huge part of what we're trying to accomplish, not only increase food distribution to those in need, but increase healthy food distribution. A lot of folks that struggle with food insecurity may not prioritize purchasing that fresh produce at the grocery store. If it goes bad, that's a big deal. So they're prioritizing high sodium, things that could stretch and feed their family. So the fact that y'all, and I know it's sometimes a headache to get produce, but that y'all prioritize that as well is such a big deal. And I know everyone really appreciates it. The average cost of food was about 35 cents a pound, which is fantastic. And 74% of the food was completely free. Really appreciate y'all's partnership. Could not do it without you. I refer to y'all as the superheroes. We're the warehouse over here on Robertson Road, but without y'all, people aren't getting the food in their hands and feeding their families. So thank you so much for doing what you guys do. So I wanted to go through the strategic plan update. As Dennis said, we had a really strong strategic plan that you guys were familiar with. I think we unveiled it at our last agency conference, but we've had some variables since then, one of which is just that amazing Mackenzie Scott donation. It's going to enable us to do some really exciting things in the future. So I wanted to go through this PowerPoint slideshow with y'all, and I'll try to be as thorough as possible. I know we only have about 15 more minutes left in this opening session. So as y'all know, East Texas Food Bank vision, hopefully our shared vision is a hunger-free East Texas. I don't necessarily think that's unachievable. I think that's something that we can do with a variety of tactics. And distributing food isn't necessarily the only one. So that's really, you'll see in this slideshow, there are some things we focus on that are going to feed the people in the line, feed the clients that you guys see every single day, but there are other things that are going to hopefully shorten the line. And I know a lot of y'all feel the same way. Pantries aren't meant to perpetuate a problem. It's meant to help people in a moment of need. It may be a long moment, it may be an extended period of time, but I think eventually our goal is that not everyone's relying on it forever. So if you look at kind of our goal in distribution, we want to meet the meal gap by 2025, and specifically a portion of the meal gap, which is 36 million meals. You can look at our 2020 distribution there. That's what we kind of covered. 25 million meals is what you guys distributed. So that's 7 million. That is a whole lot. And if you look at that in a percentage of the 25 million, like it doesn't necessarily seem that large, but I know a lot of y'all are already working hard, and 7 million pounds of food is almost unfathomable. Don't have any really reference point for that. Some breakdown here in this table is distribution by channel. You can see there are certain things that we actually are going to go down on a little bit. If you look at ETFB direct distribution, those are those big trucks that are coming to places like Longview, Lufkin, Tyler, and then some of our mobile pantry are smaller trucks that are doing direct distributions, which has ETFB staff members present. We are under the assumption that these won't be needed as much as the economic impact of COVID declines over the next several years. So we're kind of at an all-time high with those at 4.0 or 4 million pounds in fiscal year 2022. That's the projection. But then we'll eventually kind of wean off of that and keep them in the areas of high need, census tracts that have a super high percentage of poverty, but maybe focus a little bit more on other means of distribution. One big thing that we're going to cover a little bit are ETFB branches, or what we're calling resource centers. That's a big initiative of what's coming down the pike. And then SNAP meals. I mentioned that earlier in the title slide. Each application provides so much food, and it's used on food. We know for sure that that funding is used on food, and we'd like it to be about 13% of our total distribution approximately. So what we're doing with that, and if y'all are interested, we're actually providing incentives to partner agencies to provide SNAP application assistance on site. So Amanda Faust, our benefits assistance manager, is going to have a breakout session later. She's going to discuss that a little bit. So if you guys are interested, make sure you attend that breakout session. So if you look at our broad strategies, obviously we want to place these kind of in specific barrels here. And this falls in line with Feeding America's strategic plan, which these initiatives are all either going to feed, provide more food, provide more pounds of food, nourish, provide healthy food, provide nutrition education, empower clients. That's the shorten the line. How do we help them escape the perpetual need of emergency food resources? And then unite, which is kind of get our community together, understand the need, and instigate change. So you can kind of see here with our specific initiatives, and then I'm going to go through slide by slide with a lot of these. We have key partner investment. We have almost everything that's falling under feed. Our mission is to feed people, to help the hungry in East Texas. So we're still very much focused on that. Nourishment, that's a big part of what we said, the produce distribution, increasing healthy food, and access, that's very important. Empowerment, we're really focusing on wraparound services at high volume pantries and these resource centers that I'm going to discuss. And then unite, that's again, we have quite a few under that. So the first one here is we actually set aside a large portion of this Mackenzie Scott funding to invest in selected major agencies, high volume agencies with proven strong leadership that have the desire and the willingness to grow, exceptionally grow. So what we've done here is, I've been working with them over the last several months, for those of you that are on this call, sorry, it's been so long, to identify what we can do strategically within your communities and how we can help you do it. So infrastructure investments, it could go up to $1 million potentially, as it says here, in total. And we want to enable people to distribute more produce, provide more wraparound services, feed more people, and do SNAP outreach. This is another, kind of mentioned this in the title slide, this is another initiative we're really focusing on, is just targeted, direct, and mobile distribution. Some of y'all have our mobile pantry programs in your community. And basically what we do to identify these locations, we're drilling down into census tracts, and we're identifying the areas, basically neighborhoods, that have a high percentage of folks below the poverty line. Now, below the poverty line are people that are seriously experiencing a hardship. As you all know, you have to be at 185% of poverty to even qualify for a pantry. So people that are at poverty are far below that number. So we have some census tracts, some in the highest one being in Southeast Nacogdoches, where 48% of the people are below poverty. Just think about that. That's a huge percentage there that not only qualify for your pantry, but are in desperate need of resources. So that's where we send targeted mobile pantries to distribute smaller trucks, more nimble, distribute fresh produce and other fresh items like milk directly to these folks. It could be at a low-income apartment complex, could be at a school where 100% of the kids qualify for a national school lunch. So we're trying to focus on areas within our service area, smaller ones where we can give the food directly to people. We really try to focus on times so we can help serve the working poor, and accessibility. So if you don't have transportation, well, there's a food distribution right here in your neighborhood once or twice a month. This one's super exciting. We're going to go into this a little bit when we talk about growth of the food bank going forward, but fresh produce, the purchasing of fresh produce, and then how we work it on site is going to completely change over the length of the strategic plan. We want to increase the assortment. We want to increase the availability, and we might be able to offer it not necessarily only in our service area, but to other places across the nation. We obviously want to focus on serving our partners first, but we'll talk a little bit more about the opportunity coming forward. So talking about resource centers, we currently have a pilot resource center in Lufkin. And we kind of followed the same focus that we did with the mobile pantries, which is identify neighborhoods that have an incredibly high need, and also identify when there might be gaps in service. You know, Lufkin has one of our largest partners there, and what demographics can they not reach? What time are they not open? And then how do we help? It's all about coming in and filling the gap, not necessarily invading any territory. It's working together with the strong partners that are there and potentially reaching out to a different demographic. So what we did is in March, we opened the Deep East Texas Resource Center in Lufkin, and it's headed by Rachel Collins and her team. I think I saw Rachel on this call, and they're doing such a wonderful job reaching people in this neighborhood. They're right down the street from a primary school where 100% of the kids qualify for national school lunch. They're open at a completely different time than our incredibly strong partner that's down there, and they're feeding different people. And I think there's a really important here, but the next step to the resource center is offering wraparound services. So when a client comes into the Deep East Texas Resource Center, they can get the pantry and the food that they desperately need, but there's also the Greater East Texas Community Action Program, and they could offer weatherization for their home if they qualify, or they can offer utility assistance on site. We also have a SNAP application client or staff member there that's working, Latanya Sanders. We have medical screening. I think preventative medicine is incredibly important. We talk about empowering clients to escape the need of emergency food resources, identifying if you are at the early stages of a chronic illness that may be related directly to food insecurity. So offering things like blood pressure checks or blood sugar screening, free mammograms, vaccines, whatever the case may be. So people can come in, do a one-stop shop. It kind of helps them escape that tyranny of the moment that they experience. You know, it's hard to go from agency to agency in town if you're working two jobs or you don't have reliable transportation. So basically just being mindful of that and trying to offer as much as we can on site. So if you look at this map here, our next projected areas would be Longview in 2022. And we've spoken a little bit with some of the partnerships in Longview, the current really, really strong partners in Longview. They know this is coming, but I'd like to involve them in some of the planning here. And we want to do the same thing in Texarkana in 2023 and Tyler going down the road too. It's all about supporting our current partners. What other resources can we bring to the table with the resource center and just help serve the community by your side? Kind of alluded to the produce changes that are coming. This map is crazy looking, and I'm not sure if many of you guys even know what you're looking at. So basically, this, for those of you that pick up, this is our big warehouse here and our administrative offices here. And then what we'd like to do is, in addition to building that pantry and resource center we mentioned, at the north end of this map, there's a big produce mixing center. And what this would allow us to do is accept more produce, be more mindful in the produce that we procure, and mix it, put it in mixed pallets, and distribute it at a much higher quantity than we've been able to before. So even though that building on the north there, it has the 6 kind of gray rectangles, those are semi trucks. it'll give us the ability to up our produce distribution like we never have before. And this is a large portion of that Mackenzie Scott money we mentioned is going in towards infrastructure building so we can serve you guys better. Another thing that we're really trying to focus on is just, and this is really the unite piece, in my opinion, is just multi-channel marketing, involving the community, helping you guys get the word out about what you do on a daily basis, and building the audience and telling people about the need. And I've said this so many times before. I've lived in East Texas for 20 years. I did not know that. I mean, people are literally starving here within our service area. I did not know that this was an issue. I lived here for 20 years. You guys have lived here your whole lives, a lot of y'all. And it's just something that you don't know unless you're ingrained in it, or you're helping at a pantry, or you're helping at the food bank. So the fact, what you guys know and what you see every day, not everybody knows that. It's incredibly important to get the word out about our work. Mentioning advancement, we talked about all this growth and all that. We're really going to focus on increasing our donor base too. I think that's a great way to involve people that don't necessarily have the time to distribute. They can give a percentage or give a certain dollar amount every month. That's really going to help us grow our mission. And let's be honest, nothing's going to happen without any donor funding. So really need that to move forward. And I know you all do too. So we try to do our best to pass it along to you guys in forms of grants or free produce. We're really invested in keeping produce free. So this is a big part of that. This is kind of boring for y'all, this part, but this is us just building administrative capacity. We're adding important positions that allow us to be organized and transparent and grow. So this is another part mentioned in Unite. A lot of things happen on the state and national level change due to advocacy. So the Farm Bill helps fund the amount of food that we get through USDA. I know that USDA product that y'all have access to, it is awesome and it's healthy and it's cheap or free. I know you guys are huge fans of it. And the reason that we get a lot of that is due to the Farm Bill. If they increase the amount of TFAP or USDA food that we get, that's just more to you guys. And I was talking to Jim from Trinity Fellowship yesterday. I don't know if you're even on, Jim, but I'm sure you guys have noticed the increase in USDA meat, the availability of meat. It hasn't been that long ago when we were talking about small meat and large meat assorted boxes not being available, and it wasn't available to feed people. Well, now we have tons of meat. And a lot of it is due to the advocacy that's being done on our end on Feeding Texas, and then for the partners that participated in the advocacy pilot. This is such a big deal. Y'all, your local representatives can instigate change on this level and help feed people. It could help provide funding for Texan farmers to not till under their food, and instead they can pick it, get paid to pick it, send it to a food bank, and then we send it on to you guys. So that is all change that gets done on the state level with advocacy. So if you guys are ever interested in participating in any of this and being a voice for your community, let us know, because we have work that can be done for sure. That is the end of the strategic plan. Looks like I'm right on time. Mike covered all of these, I think. So just utilize that chat. Tech 12 is here to help you guys. We do have a quick lunch break. Couldn't figure out a way to feed y'all through Zoom. So lunch is on you, but make sure you come back right after, because we're going to do one grant giveaway immediately after lunch. Then make sure you listen to our guest speaker. We have an awesome representative from UT that's going to talk a little bit about giving and the heart of a giver. And then we're going to give out more grants at the end of the day. So with that being said, again, really appreciate y'all coming. You guys are awesome. I'm going to kick it off to Mike to see if he has any last thing, but really appreciate y'all. And it's really great to see your faces. Have a good day, guys. Thanks again.